First of all, I'm going to call upon Dr. Ibrahim Badejo, Senior Director at New Ventures from Johnson & Johnson Innovation, to come up and moderate this session. Thank you, Doctor.
Good afternoon. I am humbled and privileged to be the moderator for the next NEF Challenge of Innovation to Innovation. My name is Ibrahim Badejo, and I work for Johnson & Johnson. And my focus at Johnson & Johnson is identifying and investing in early-stage medical technologies. In the last 3 days, I've been here, and I've been at awe in listening and hearing the exciting science and innovation that are being presented by people of African descent. It's truly amazing. And I am convinced, beyond any shadow of doubt, that we are just at the tip of the iceberg, that the next Einstein and the next transformative solution is going to come from Africa. So keep up the good work, and I am always here to continue to support every effort that is going on in African innovation. On the podium with me, sitting to judge the Ci2i today, are the following judges: Michelle Gregory, Vice President of Content and Innovation at Elsevier; Josh Gain, Chief Technology Officer for Johnson & Johnson Consumer Companies; and Elaine Idin Sakura, Head of Philip Research of Africa. We're going to be listening to very impressive speeches from 3 categories that was given earlier in the week. Each of the presenters will only have 3 minutes to present their final pitch. After the 3 minutes, they will go out of the stage, and after we've completed the pitches for each category, the presenters will come back to the stage, and the judges will have the opportunity of asking questions, and then we'll have the audience too to ask one question. To kick off the finalist presentation on climate smart innovation, we'll have Rachel Sibande.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings from the warm heart of Africa, Malawi. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a microgrid power system from maize cobs. We are generating electricity, light, from maize. Now, did you know that 90% of Malawi's population are not connected to the electric grid? In fact, for those that are connected to the hydropower electric grid, they do face intermittent power outages, which range from 8 hours to 25 hours at a time. And so we do seek to find alternative solutions to finding electricity and power for the communities that are not connected, using locally available resources. One such resource is maize. Malawi produces 3 million kilograms of maize every year. Maize is the country's staple crop. On average, every farming household will produce maize. But what happens to the maize cobs will range from being used for domestic cooking or being left to waste. And so we found good use for the maize cobs other than being put to waste, which is a thermochemical process that converts the maize cobs into combustible gas. This gas contains hydrogen and carbon monoxide. When you burn this gas, you can generate heat, steam, but in our case, we're able to generate electricity. Now, this is not a new technology. It's been tried and tested with rice husks in areas such as India. All we're doing is to leverage what has been tested and replacing it with maize cobs. We've tested this and are able to generate, for every 1 kilogram of maize cobs, 1 kilowatt of power. In the next phase, we would want to collect maize cobs from communities where we work in. The communities earn an income for selling us the maize cobs. We take the maize cobs to a power generation plant. There we employ communities. They gain technical skills, but also an income for their families and the communities. The power that is generated is distributed to the local communities, health centers, schools, and local businesses at a fee that is 60% less than what they get from the national grid. The byproducts from the generation of this electricity is ash and charcoal. The ash can be used in earth-compressed blocks that can be used for building eco-friendly houses, whereas the burnt charcoal can be used as an alternative in domestic cooking for firewood. We're partnering with the Florida Polytechnic University as a technical partner who are testing the efficiency of this biomass gasification plant. We would want to get a more efficient and automated gasification plant in the next phase, but also technical expertise to design and lay out the microgrid to distribute this electricity to the communities. We are incubated within Malawi's first innovation hub, M-Hub. And so, ladies and gentlemen, join us, eat the maize, and light up the communities. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Brian Isaac.
Good afternoon. My name is Lahbib Latrash. I am founder of Green Watek, based in Morocco. Today, I would like to introduce you a new wastewater treatment technology. It's not mine.
I think there was a mix-up. The next was, well, you can go ahead.
This one.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you. So, do you know that more than 2 billion people around the world do not have access to safe and adequate sanitation service? Most of this population are living in developing and African countries. In this region, wastewater is rejected without any treatment, and that affects population health, pollutes environment, and potable water. So the existing technology are very expensive, non-adapted to rural area, and need high staff quality for operation and maintenance. So how to solve this problem? Our solution is a new wastewater treatment technology called multi-soil layering technology. This technology is based only on local, low-cost, and available materials like soil, gravel, and charcoal. So wastewater is collected, treated by our technology, and reused in irrigation of agriculture. So compared to the existing technology, our solution is characterized by a very low cost, very low cost investment. It requires a small area, and it's operated without any energy. So our mission is based on participatory approach. Our targets are rural communities, decentralized institutes like hotels and rural area. So we offer for our customers a free technical study and after-sales service. This is an example of our last project. In this rural area, 20 cubic meter is treated and reused to irrigate economic plants every day. For now, we impacted 5,000 people in Morocco. So our vision is to extend our service in Africa, where more than 1 billion people lack access to safe sanitation. Thank you.
Sorry for the mix-up. Our next presenter is Brian Isaac.
Good evening. My name is Brian Isaac from Ghana, and I'm producing bandelas board made from coconut husks and sugarcane burgers. Cobon believe there is a better way of making building materials. That's why we are focusing on making coconut, using coconut husks in making board. And then we believe that there's more waste in Ghana, and coming out on the street of Ghana, there's a lot of coconut husks and sugarcane baggers present. And we can convert this waste in manufacturing bandage board that could be used in the manufacturing sector. And then the product is, you have the coconut husks, you mill it using the milling machine, you have the cocoa pit, you subject it to mold pressing, and then you mold it in the dimension you want. You can mold it by 4 by 8 feet. You subject to hydraulic pressing. The hydraulic pressing uses temperature and pressure. The temperature activates the lignin present in the coconut pit, and the bandage board is made and could be used for products like making chairs, making wardrobes, building cabinets, ceiling, walls, and partitioning. And our approach is very sustainable and environmental friendly. The method is very sustainable because we use coconut husk entirety. We don't use any product apart from the coconut husk, and we don't need any chemical agent such as urea formaldehyde, which is being used in the wood-based companies to burn their product. And the production process is carbon emission neutral. And it's very inexpensive because we are not going to deploy the synthetic resins, which is called urea formaldehyde, in binding the agent. The urea formaldehyde, which is being used in the most companies, contribute 1/3 of the production cost, and that we are not going to deploy that, and it makes our product very cheaper. And it can form another source of income for development countries. Our implementation, we are planning in the coming 3 years to withdraw 2 million kilograms of coconut husks and bagger from the environment and use to manufacture board, which is very safe and very nice for the people and the planet. And by then doing that, we are going to mitigate the emission of carbon emissions into the, and whereby we are going to ensure climate change mitigation. And we have been incubated in the Ghana Climate Innovation Center, and then we are in the process of doing the research and development of the product, and we are in the prototyping stage. And we believe, based from the data gathered, we believe that the bandage board has a prospect in entering into the manufacturing sector, the furniture, the casket production, and then the commodity exporting companies. And then with the depletion of forest reserves in Africa and the world as a whole, the future production of plywood shall reduce. Thereby, the bandage board will be further enhanced. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to bring Rachel, Brian, and Dr. Latrac to the stage for question and answers. Thanks. So each of the judges will have an opportunity to ask a question, and then we will ask the audience to also ask one question.
First of all, nice work in terms of the presentation. I know sitting in front of a lot of people in this room, it's not an easy task. Just very straight question, and it's all three of you, so just quickly, if all three of you could answer it. One of the most important characteristics of an entrepreneur is to know what's behind the corner that keeps you up at night. What's the one thing that you're concerned about each of your projects?
For us, our main concern is getting to agree with the government so that they can use the power that we generate and feed it into their existing infrastructure. It looks like there might be some policy challenges with that in areas where they have their infrastructure, but they are happy to let us do that in areas like rural areas where there is no existing infrastructure currently. So we will just focus on those communities to begin with where there is no infrastructure at the moment.
We believe that water and sanitation challenge is one of the global challenges so may our solution can answer to attain sustainable development goal, especially number 6, which is sanitation and water for all. So we expect to our solution can solve this challenge.
All right, and deforestation has become one of the unprecedented problems we have in Africa and in the world. And there's a need for us to divert and get a new way to convert our waste we generate on the street to do something very sustainable that can replace the wood-based board we have from our forests. And that's what we are doing back in Ghana.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So those were really great presentations, and what I liked about them all is the global reach, right? These are issues that don't just affect Africa. They all have global impact as well. So I have a question, a different question for each of you. Excuse me. Actually, it's the same question for the two of you. As I was looking at what you were doing for the power plants and also for the water treatment plant, what is the monetization model that you have? Are you looking for the government for funding to actually build them, or what do you have planned for that?
Yeah, so for us, we're not looking for the government to provide funding. We've bootstrapped already to purchase the first, it's a manual gasification plant, to test it and try it out. What we're looking for now is investment, whether it's equity, to make sure that we can scale to the next level and build the microgrid. We want to be a fully fledged business, providing electricity and generating revenues from the sales of the electric tariffs. Yes.
For me, our solution was, for now, patented only in Morocco and Japan. What we are looking for is to patent our technology outside Morocco in Africa, and also funding. We have, for now, 5 funding from international government, and we are looking to expand our market.
The last question for you, Brenya. I wasn't clear from your presentation if the sugarcane husks that you're using, if you need to cultivate more sugarcane to do this, or if you can use existing byproducts from current agriculture.
All right. Initially, we have 2 products that we are focusing on, using the coconut husks and the sugarcane baggers. And then we are concentrating on the husks for now. And then in the near future, when we keep on innovating, we'll enter into the baggers. And then the most opportunity that we have, that there's a new Commander Sugar Factory, which is being constructed in Ghana, and it's going to produce the waste and will get used to produce the board.
All right, thank you.
So we'll ask the audience to ask one question. Any question from the audience?
My question goes to the presenter who is using maize to produce electricity. You've talked about the challenges you face with areas where there's an existing grid system. So in terms of sustainability, have you thought about some of these areas where you've been allowed to lay out your own microgrid system in case the government begins to expand to have grid systems in those areas? Have you thought about what will happen to your business?
Yes. So in the conversations we've been having with the government, they are agreeable that in areas where we go in first to lay out a microgrid, when they come in, they're happy to build on our infrastructure. The problem they have is us building into their existing infrastructure, but them coming into building our infrastructure doesn't look like a problem. So it's kind of a selfish scenario, but yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, the team on climate smart innovations. The next 2 pitches are going to come from data science and deep technology. To get us started, we'll have Devi Iwizira as the presenter.
I'm David Wizera from Rwanda Piloting a Solution Nairobi, and I'm happy to tell you about a solution for public transport industry. Public transport industry is currently facing different problems. We have traffic, we have lack of optimization, we have long queue of the people trying to get on the bus. There's no accountability. Even though we are trying to go cashless, but we find so many people that are trying to get in the bus, passing by the driver, and we can tell that. Not only that, we've also faced some security issues, whereby you find people getting pickpocketed inside the buses, abused inside the buses, and we can tell. But the main problem is how actually you have low visibility in public transport industry. You don't know when the bus is coming. Even if the bus is coming, you don't know if there's a seat inside. So you just stand somewhere at the bus station with hope that the bus will come and probably there will be some seats. And actually these problems are expected to get worse if there's nothing done due to the growth in African cities, the population growth, and also the rural and urban areas migration. But we are trying to do something. So if you look at what we are trying to do, we have a machine learning algorithm that actually matches the camera, the stream that we get in the cameras, and our processor. And we can tell if someone is getting on the bus or if someone is getting out of the bus. And from there, actually, we can do so many different things because we match the data from the passengers on different bus stops with the data that we have inside the bus. And we can tell if there's any free seats in the bus or if there's no free seats in the bus. And by doing that, bringing the accountability solution, we do more than that actually, because we provide people autonomous scheduling. Not only that, but we believe we are affecting different areas as we help the people to get easily to the work very fast in a very hopeful way. But what makes us very exciting is not the solution that we are providing directly, but the data that we are capturing and how we are going to use it. So if you look at the data we are capturing, transport is touching on every angle. So you have people going to work, people getting back home, people going to hospitals, and in different other ways. And with the data that we are capturing, we can actually even look at, how are we going to estimate where the future road is going to pass? And we can also look at how we can even monitor economic activities by looking at the patterns of where the people get out from. Is it around the market? Is it around the banks? And we can monitor income of a specific area in real time. And there's even hope to go extra mile, that we can even go to look at the health of the cities by looking at the mobility and combining that with pharmaceutical data that you can get from different areas. And by that, we can counterattack different outbreak diseases that can come in our cities. We believe that with our solution, we can do better in transport industry. Thanks.
Our next presenter is going to be Dr. Abdoulaye Diallo.
Hello, everyone. Twice in 2 days. But I'm excited to be here to go deeper and convince you that we are in the revolution of genomics, where the life scientist needs to have the power to integrate more data. They will be collecting data regularly, maybe every day or weeks. They need to analyze those data in a regular basis so that they can deliver what will be the next generation services derived from genomics. What can be done with that? We can drive in the way of precision. Yesterday, we discussed about precision in health, but we will be moving also in precision in agriculture and precision in forest and so on. But for that to happen, our life scientists and the biotechs that are working in that direction, they need to have the outbreaking technologies that help them analyze those data in a regular basis. Also, they need to have a tracking way of integrating all the recurring data they are doing. To do that, at MIMS, my company that I founded 2 years ago with 2 other colleagues, we put in the kernel of that process an AI that will monitor in a phylogenetic spatiotemporal the whole process of integrating genomics data. What that means, we develop an AI-powered platform, including incremental learning, knowledge, so that we can extract data for the knowledge-based data sources, including literature and so on. The natural language processes is important because since we are dealing with domain expertise, we need to leverage the domain languages. And then, to secure, have recurrent and reproducible processes, you need to have solid workflows that can run the outbreaking bioinformatics and artificial intelligence method to solve integrating all genomic proteomic data with the real-world data. So our solution has been tested, and we can show that we can provide a cost reduction to 2 to 6 times in the market. And also, it can be faster than the regular basis actually the biotechs are now doing in integrating such data. It's efficient and it's robust. We are discussing with clients, and to show you the power of such orientations, there are biotechs and pharma. You can deal with data sharing because the biobanks have a lot of data that can be used in different projects. You can use it in monitoring pathogens in the biodiversity and also studying biodiversity, and also in maximizing production in different industries. Those are the things we are dealing on. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to bring Abdoulaye and Davy back to the stage for questions from the judges, and then we'll have one question from the audience. Davy and Abdoulaye, please come back to the stage.
That's close enough. Yes. Thank you for the nice presentations and actually the heart of the current science. I have a few questions, actually, for both of you. And I start with the first one, because you are actually developing solutions to serve specific needs. And you have, of course, experienced and maybe observed many of them. What I would like to know from you is how did you validate those needs, and how did you engage with your target customers or users? So how did that journey go?
Yes. Currently, we are working with the circles in Nairobi, which they are actually presenting a lot of concerns in what we are talking about. Because now the drivers and the touts, at the end of the day, they just tell you that we made, let's say, 4,000, right? And you have to believe that blindly, right? But when we started piloting our system, actually the numbers of the people that got on the bus doubled. So if you look at that, only that scenario for the management team, I mean, it shows the need for our solution. Not only that, but also we are the passengers in these buses, right? And we use these buses, and we see how these buses are operating. Personally, and some in African cities I've been in, you can't tell if the bus is coming, right? When you start at the bus station, actually you can even spend there 2 hours. And most of the buses, they will come and they will pass you, right? Because even if they're coming, you don't know if there are any seats inside. So we are living by hope, right? So if you're trying to do something very urgent, it's going to be very hard for you to tell if the bus is coming or not, if you're going to get a seat there. Can I even pre-book? Because there are no channels for that, right? So.
Is that a personal experience, or did you collect data on that?
We collected data, but I also wanted to put in the personal experience as well. Yes.
Same question.
The same question. Actually, our co-founder, we are scientists. So we worked on that field for more than 10 years. We collected data, we integrate things, and we bring a technology. Then we need to validate, collect with clients. We have done several pilot projects with different clients to see how they process within what I showed, the manual version of dealing with workflows, collecting data, integrating, and having the results. For some clients, it will take 10 or 15 times the way that we are using it in our platform. So that's the validation we have done. We also assess the cost. For taking, let's say, one biotech, we did a pilot project with it. They have external consortium where they send the data to be analyzed. So that takes a month to get analyzed, and the data come back. But if you have to do that in a recurrent way, it has a lot of cost. So we validate in that perspective also.
So if you think about those specific end users that you have collected data from, so what is your first product in layman language to them? And how is your revenue generation model from that?
Yes. Our product is actually to make it easier for people to use public transport in optimal way, very important optimal. Now, talking about our clients and the way that we are going to generate revenues.
What am I getting from you? So I'm your customer.
Yes.
What do I get?
You are getting visibility inside the transport industry, right? Because you can tell if the bus is coming, and you can tell if there are any free seat inside. If you are a client, a passenger. From the management, you'll be able to tell how the buses are operating. You can track the performance, and you can see how they are doing real time. Now, talking about the money generation. So we have two ways of generating money. As I told you, when we started implementing our accounting systems, the numbers of the people that have been getting on the bus, the ones that were actually reported, they doubled, right? That's income to the management, the bus owners. So they're willing to pay for this system. But now we also have another model for ads, because we are going to have millions of people. Because if you see the way transport industry is in Africa and how people use it, so many people use public transport industry. So given the app they're going to be using, looking at that and using our technology, we will be able to put different ads there that can generate a lot of money. And as you know, most of the big companies we have right now, they live by ads and marketing. Yeah.
We have 3 selling points that we share with each client that we met. First is cost effectiveness, reducing the cost of the whole process of analysis. Second is the fact that you gain a time efficiency, a real-time efficiency. That allows you as a biotech or as an industry, to have the possibility to scale, to have more clients dealing with genomic and services derived from genomics. The third point, since we have an AI monitoring powered platform that is leveraging natural languages, what is possible in there? We have a groundbreaking monitoring system so that you can go further on your previous analysis. You can merge, experiment. Actually, if you want to do that, you need to develop other modules, but in our product is in the kernel of the system.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll ask the audience for one question.
Thank you. Very nice presentation. I'm very impressed by your project. I'm Moussa Cham from Mali. My question will go for the transportation. So Africa is very big. So what the plan from your starting point to the next one? So we are dealing with human activities, and the sector of transportation is not well organized in my country. So how you are going to deal with those information? Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. I like the question because actually that's why we came in. Because it's disorganized, and it's expected to even get more disorganized if you don't do nothing. So we are starting by piloting Nairobi, but we have bigger vision for other countries even as we go on. And we believe once we continue to experiment this, using our AI and the way we compute and the way we match all these dots and join them, we can go to different other countries. Because if you go to Nairobi, you tell me, the transport there is a disaster. We said, we can start where it's very difficult, and we'll be able to expand in other countries very easily. Thanks.
Thank you. With those 2 questions, I want to take the opportunity to thank Davy and Abdoulaye, and let's give them a hand for applause. Our next pitches is going to come from on innovation on personal health innovation. The first speaker is Dr. Conrad Tankou.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Conrad from Cameroon, and I'll be presenting to you the GigMed project, which is an innovation to reduce deaths due to breast and cervical cancers in Cameroon and beyond. Now, breast and cervical cancers are the major causes of cancer-related deaths in sub-Saharan African women, where they account for over 300,000 deaths every year. In Cameroon, over 15,000 new cases are diagnosed every year, but barely 20% of these newly diagnosed women live for more than 5 years after diagnosis. This is because over 90% of them are discovered at late to end stage of the disease when treatment options are very limited and sometimes not even available. Why do so many of our women still keep dying because of breast and cervical cancer? First of all, it's because there is limited access to screening and treatment services, especially in rural areas where the disease burden is highest. And secondly, medical pathologists who are key players in the cancer diagnosis process are very limited in numbers in many sub-Saharan African countries. A country like Cameroon counts just 20 pathologists who work just in 5 pathology laboratories in the entire nation. And thirdly, rural areas who suffer the highest burden of these diseases are characterized by the presence of less qualified health personnel and the absence of medical specialists. Faced with these challenges, we came up with this project, which is made up of an innovative telemedicine platform and a portable digital microscope to remotely screen and diagnose breast and cervical cancer. This project permits the few available medical specialists present, mainly in big cities, to be able to remotely screen and diagnose women even in the most remote and enclave areas. The digital microscope works on smartphones without any direct source of power and can therefore easily adapt and work in rural areas without electricity. Now, let me walk you through the process of cervical cancer screening. First, a woman's data is collected through the telemedicine platform by a trained nurse in the rural area, and next, images of the cervix are being captured after treating the cervix with some basic reagents, following WHO guidelines. Next, all this data is uploaded onto a secure cloud storage platform, which is accessed immediately and in real time by a medical specialist. The specialist reviews all the data and can therefore remotely place a diagnosis. The results are sent back to the site where the screening was done so that the woman can be planned for care accordingly. And for the breast, first, a clinical breast exam is done by the nurse, and in a case where a lump or a lesion is detected, a biopsy is done, which consists of collecting a sample of the cells using a syringe. These cells are then placed on a glass slide, which is placed under the digital microscope. The microscope captures images and short videos of this slide and uploads all this data onto the cloud storage platform. It's accessed immediately and in real time by a pathologist who reviews all the data and can remotely place a diagnosis. Now, patients confirmed to have cancers are then geolocated to be treated on site and in their health areas through mobile treatment units. We believe this project is the most affordable and the most cost-effective way of early detecting and treating breast and cervical cancer, thus reducing the number of deaths. Thank you.
Thank you, Conrad. Our next presenter in personalized health innovation is Joel Gassana.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gassana Joel, a medical student from the University of Rwanda. I'm going to talk about a companion app. In Rwanda, we have a very high prevalence of HIV, which is more than 3.3%. Despite the government effort to give free medication for people with HIV, we still have a high number of people dying due to HIV-related cause. The government of Rwanda have now covered more than 80% of people. Now they are having free HIV medication. The HIV medication, to be effective, we need to have a more adherence and to prevent poor outcomes. In Rwanda, data shows that the adherence to treatment, more than 27% are not adherent. That resulted in 3,000 deaths in 2016 due to poor adherence to medication. Our solution is Companion App. Companion App is a mobile application connecting healthcare providers and people living with HIV in order to improve the patient follow-up and adherence to medication. Companion app provides mainly 4 services. The first service is an online reminder to take the medication. And if the patient takes the medication, he should respond on the app so that the doctor will know that the patient took the medication. The second service Companion app offers is a reminder to go for checkup of viral load and CD4 count. And Companion app also gives an option to a patient to directly contact his doctor if he developed any complication concerning his disease. Companion app will also provide a safe HIV medication which can be delivered to your home safely. Now we have developed our Companion app, and we started working with the University of Rwanda and the University Teaching Hospital to pilot our project. We have booked now the appointment with the Ministry of Health, and we have been awarded 10,000 USD from the USAID and Tony L. Mello Foundation for our program. Companion app will have revenue models getting money from the patient according to their social classes, and also the hospital will buy the system for the better follow-up of the patient. We are planning to raise the adherence up to 99%, and we're planning to decrease the mortality due to AIDS less than, and to decrease the maternal-to-child transmission of HIV to less than 1%, and to create a better documentation of adherence in Rwanda. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I would like Conrad to join Joe on the stage, please. So we'll ask our judges for questions, then we'll ask the audience for 1 question.
Hi, those were really nice presentations and very innovative ideas. I have some actually pretty specific questions, one for each of you. Let's start with Gisana. So your goal in the next 5 years is to increase adherence by 99%. In the pilot studies that you've done, how much have you increased adherence? So for as many, what is the percentage?
Thank you very much. We have not yet done our pilot project, but data shows that in the same program done in Kenya, where they were sending SMS to patients to take medication, it has shown that the adherence was raised up to 99%. And a similar study done by PIH in Rwanda, in Rwinkwavu, they were sending someone to remind a patient to take medication. It was a component method, and it has shown that patients were taking the medication up to 100%. Okay,
so thank you. The question I have for you actually is fairly simple, but I wanted to know for the devices that you use in the medical imaging, what is your error rate? Have you guys been able to calculate an error rate, either false positives or negatives?
Okay, thanks for the question. Currently, we've reached over 1,000 women already, and we've collected the data. But at this process, we are still, we've not yet attained a particular target to estimate it completely. So we are still collecting data, and hopefully in the nearest future, we'll be able to estimate the sensitivity and specificity of the devices here. But in the nearest future, we'll be able to get that. We are still in the process of collecting the data.
My question to both of you is exactly the same, so, which is, you're going to need as a next step to do a proof of concept. Have you thought about it? What does that look like? And at what point, based on the results that you see, you would say, you know what, this is, both of them are ready to go?
Okay, thank you. We have now our project, our app developed, and we are currently working with the University of Rwanda to help us to prototype in the teaching hospitals. And they are very promising, and we are in the next step, starting our project.
Okay, and for me, I think an interesting thing about this project is that it's easy to feel and see the impact. So we're going to pilot in a few sites first, and from there, with respect to the impact we have, we'll have an idea of how the project can benefit the entire population, and from there, we'll be able to scale to other places. Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll ask one question from the audience.
Thank you. Congratulations both for such exciting projects. My question is on how you go into compatibility of your apps to all these patients or people who have, for instance, an adherence, to ensure that they have the mobile phone to carry such an app, and also with evolving technologies, with new mobile phones introduced, how are you going to really catch up with evolution of technology to ensure that your app keeps evolving too? Thank you.
Thank you for the good question. Actually, our product companion app, it has two ways. It uses an Android and broadband connection of 3G, which for smartphone, and also use USSD code for people without internet access. And in Rwanda, data shows that 70% of the youth has now smartphones, and data are showing that there is high number of accumulation of smartphone, and many people have phone without smartphone, but they can still use USSD codes. Thank you.
Thank you. So this brings us to the end of our pitch sessions on NEF, Challenge Innovation to Innovations. It has been my privilege to be able to moderate this session, and I have been truly inspired by the innovations that came from all the 7 presenters, but more also is your participation as an audience and our judges. So thank you, and give a hand of applause for all the presenters.
Thank you, gentlemen and lady. Now, we are going to give 10 minutes to the judges to deliberate on the winners. So within 10 minutes, we will come back. May I ask you to stay in the room just to have a bit of a stretch break and use your phone while we are deliberating on the winners. Then we will announce them. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly have your attention, please? Ladies and gentlemen, please take a seat as we proceed with the final section of this gathering. Thank you for taking your seats. So all good things come to an end, as it seems. Before I call upon the next person, there is a small announcement I need to make. We have found a bag with very important documents, and they belong to a gentleman called Désiré Sekanabo from the University of Rwanda at the College of Technology. So Mr. Désiré, if you could kindly find your bag on the right side, it contains important documents. Thank you. So here we are. Who are the winners of our challenge? We shall find out shortly. For us to know who is the winner of the Ci2i challenge, I'm going to call upon Ms. Nathalie Munyamhenda, the Managing Director of NEF. Nathalie, welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to also ask that we give a hand of an applause to our wonderful MC of the event, Mireille Carrera, who kept us disciplined and on time the best she could. So now we're going to quickly proceed to the Ci2i awarding ceremony. You saw their presentations, you listened to their answers during the questions, and we're very proud that this innovation competition is becoming more and more research-based, and we hope that in 2020 we're going to get major funders, and hopefully we'll do something bigger than we are doing now. So this is just a starting point. So first of all, for the climate smart part, I'm going to call Dr. Josh Game to come forward, as well as the check. Where is the check, which is very important. Great. Thank you, Esther. So she's going to turn around when I call her, right? So for the winner for the Climate Smart Innovations category of the Challenge of Invention to Innovation is Rachel Sibande. Say just a couple more seconds so the lone photographers get you. Rachel, do you want to say a quick thank you?
Thank you very much. I'd like to dedicate this to the girls and the daughters of Africa that are looking to innovate, to create homegrown solutions that can be deployed on the continent and elsewhere in the world. Thank you.
So, I forgot to mention, but Rachel is our first cohort ambassador to Malawi, so we were very proud of her. Why don't we do health while you're still here? So we're going to go and right into health and announce the winner, so Josh will be giving away that award as well. Rachel, if you can stay on stage, we'll take a group photo at the end. So for the winner for the Personalized Health Innovations category for the Challenge of Invention to Innovation competition is Professor Abdoulaye Diallo. Great. Do you want to say a few words, Abdoulaye?
Yeah, I'm really honored to be here, and it's really grateful to everyone in this place. We need to implement the revolution. Yesterday we were talking at the AI for increasing health. People are showing that there is a lack of infrastructure and there is need for capacity strengthening. But what we need also, we need to have the technologies. And we are building those technologies to deliver precision. So we are already working with customers in Africa. And the next year, the product will be in the continent. Thank you.
So Abdoulaye, before you go, this prize was sponsored by Elsevier, so I want you to clap for Elsevier and allow Michelle to take a photo with Abdoulaye. That's my mistake, and I apologize. Yeah. No. We're going to take a photo with the two of you. Very good. So Michelle's going to stay here because we're going to have a group photo as well. And the last award, in personalized health this time, that was the Data Science Award. The winner in the personalized health category is Conrad Tankou. So do you want to say a few words?
Thank you. I just want to thank NEF for this spotlight and helping us showcase this innovation, and just to say this is going to go a long way to impact many more lives. And we are targeting the rural women. The rural women who are coming for you will save your lives. Be coming.
So before we have the group photo, if you can take the microphone, Josh, that he has. We're going to ask Josh and Michelle to say a few words about why they're supporting this type of competition.
Thank you. At Elsevier, our mission is to support scientists, technologists, and medical professionals. We can only do this if we have the best innovations possible, and we're really proud to be able to present the Deep Technology Award today and to really spark innovation globally and worldwide to further our mission.
Yeah, I think for Johnson & Johnson, our whole history, 135 years, it's built by entrepreneurs like people that you just met, and that's what we continue to support. But I hope that this is not even the end of it. I think we're going to continue to mentor, continue to provide whatever they need to make sure that when we see them in 2 years, it's going to be a much bigger company, a much bigger startup than where they are today.
Thank you. I'm going to ask for a group photo, and I want you to step forward so there's better lighting, just a little bit to where the line is here. Youssef Travali, the VP of Science, will also join you for this photo. Thank you so much. Thank you. Another round of applause for our innovators. Yes. Now I would just like to call upon Karen Craigs for a few partner announcements, and then we will continue to end this wonderful event.
Good evening. I'm not Karen Craigs, and my name is Dorothy Nyambi. I'm the Executive Vice President at AIMS, and I'm here to announce on behalf of the Gender Summit Africa that moving forward, Gender Summit Africa is going to partner with the NEF. About a few of you were here during the Gender Summit, and we're really delighted that the NEF has decided to make sure that women are not left behind. We heard it in many of the different speeches that were said, but His Excellency Paul Kagame reminded us of it. So my announcement is just to say, on behalf of the President and CEO of AIMS and the founder of the NEF, that the Gender Summit Africa will become a partner with the next Einstein Forum. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So we're almost reaching the end of the summit. And before we do that, we will welcome another partner for announcements. I will call upon Jean-Philippe Ouzin to come forward and share a few words on the partnership. Monsieur Jean-Philippe.
Est-ce que tu sais si les deux slides que j'ai donnés, elles sont, et Thierry, tu les as donnés ou pas? Ok. Ah, mais c'est après ou je... D'accord. Ok. Bon. Non, mais je parle de tout. Attends, j'ai pas compris. Okay, good. Sorry, this is a bit improvised. Okay.
So I'm Jean-Philippe Usan. I'm theoretical physicist and mainly specialized in cosmology, and I've been involved with AIMS for many years now. I'm part of the scientific board of the network. And 2 days ago, I discussed with Ci2i about one of my projects, and he said, well, I should share it with you. We talked a lot about inspiration during these 3 days, and I remember that when I was a kid, my main inspiration was, I want to go to the moon. Obviously, I failed. Yes, you see that. I mean, you would have known. But sometimes, you know, there are different ways of failing. Some years ago, I told that to some people, and from discussion to discussion, I managed to get the opportunity to deposit an object of 800 grams on the moon in June or July 2019. So we created a collective. It's called Ci2i. It's an international collective of researchers and artists. Most of them, they are involved in public outreach and in the dialogue between art and science. And we have managed a way to put a lot of information in 800 grams. It will be made of disk of sapphire with 1.4 micron pixels. So basically, our disk will be 9 centimeter diameter, and you will have 3 billion of pixels. So we'll have many of these disks. We are starting to design the content of these disks. There will be culture, there will be science, there will be art, there will be many things about us as humans. And this is where I would like you to be engaged and to come with me to the moon. Yes, I want to take you all to the moon. We were talking about inspiration. My main inspiration was, I mean, I was not born, but September, was it 62? I remember a president saying, we choose to go to the moon, okay? Not because it's easy, but because it's hard. And I think this is what we do when we do all this involvement. We do it not because it's easy, but because it's hard and because we will learn a lot on ourselves. So I want to take you with me to the moon, and the idea is the following. So I'm not supposed to talk about that officially because we are just, you know, like pirate passengers on this big mission, which will be announced probably in 2 weeks. But very soon we will be public, and there will be the possibility for you to send pictures of yourself alone or with your family. I had some examples, but we can't display it right now. With text, I want a lot of handwritten text from all of you in any languages, in any alphabet. We want to share the diversity of humanity, diversity of smile, diversity of faces. We want messages in which you tell, I mean, what would you say to the cosmos? What would you say to the moon, to eternity, to humanity, to yourself? What are your fears? What are your hopes for the future? What makes you happy or sad? We want to know all of this. We will, like thousands of them on these tiny disks, and we will send them to the moon, hopefully, if we succeed, next year in June or July. And remember, July next year will be 50 years after the first step of man on the moon. This is a big step for humanity. There are many others to do. So we would like you to connect with us. So they were supposed to be the address of our website so that you can connect to it to get the information. Exactly. And this is where I stop because I've been too long. And thank you very much for having me the opportunity to invite you with us to the moon. Okay, thank you.
It was never my dream to go to the moon, but I think I will take that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost there. We're almost to the end of that. Before we call Honorable Dr. Eugène Mutumira to close the session, there are 2 people I will call upon, and then we'll proceed. So next up is Dr. Youssef Travali to talk to us about the Kigali Declaration. Dr. Youssef, please come forward. Thank you.
Okay, I think before I start, I want to say just wow.